Hello and welcome to another episode of Character Unlock. This week we actually have ourselves a special guest. You know, like almost every other episode.
You sound really happy about that.
Yeah.
Like you sound so chuffed.
But with me, of course, is Mr. Brooker, which you just heard, and also Lee Loveridge from the Mass Effect special we did, who will also probably be joining us in next week actually.
Yes, next week.
For the EGX special. So, guys, how are you?
Hello, everyone.
Hello. I'm all right, mate. How about you? You all right?
Yeah, I think everyone's fine. Everyone's
We're all
happy.
good. I'm good.
So,
It's going to be like an hour and a half of people politely trying to not talk over each other.
Yeah, that sucks.
Editing this is just going to be me removing lots of dead space.
yeah, Dead Space.
I like Dead Space.
Anyway,
I like Dead Space.
stop talking about Dead Space. It's
I
not
got
relevant.
to chapter 6 twice. I played it twice and got to chapter 6 both times and never finished it. I'm such a cop-out.
It's really worth finishing. Like 1 and 2 are really good.
Yeah, but you like horrors, mate. It makes my heart go fucking out of my chest. I can't deal with it.
But to be fair, horror
such a
games
softie.
make me brown my pants just as much as they do you. Because it's that thing where like a horror film lasts 90 minutes and you just sit there. But a horror game, you have to force yourself to go through it. And if you don't, it makes it worse because you just have to sit there listening to music while you get the balls to move.
Yeah. Sorry. Off topic.
Fine.
We haven't started the topic yet.
You can't go off topic when we haven't started it.
That's
So,
true.
To be fair, you're completely on topic for a regular episode.
Yeah.
Well done. So, crack right into it with some news. And so far, the only news that we really have going at all is that LA Noire is getting a HD remaster, I guess.
UHD remaster?
I don't know. I think it is going to be
Would you call it
better
a
on
UHD?
Xbox One.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be released on Xbox One and PS4. If I remember rightly,
Pro.
it will be better on X and Pro.
I'm pretty sure it's got 4K capabilities.
Yeah. Yes, it will run in 4K on the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One. So yes, I think we get to call them UHD remakes now.
So we're getting UHD remakes now
It's going to be on the Vive as well.
for the. Okay, that's
Okay. Did I read something about them having extended content as well, or am I imagining that?
No, they're going to have extra stuff for. I believe the extra stuff is just for the VR headset.
Ooh.
That
Who
sounds
even
kind of
bought
cool.
a VR headset? Who? No one. Good idiots bought VR headsets.
Okay. Dickweed.
I don't know anyone that bought a VR headset.
Me.
I wish I didn't know anyone who bought a VR headset.
Oh wait, yeah, I do. Yeah. Oh.
I'm annoyed that it won't be on PSVR. That does kind of suck.
So wait, the only bit what?
So it's only
on
going to
consoles,
be
but not the consoles that have got headsets.
yeah, but it will be
Nice.
on HTC Vive. You know, the thing that costs 4 times the price of the PSVR.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah,
What, the Vive?
yeah, man, it's amazing. It's an awesome little bit of kit.
Okay. I'm out of the loop, obviously.
I quite like the idea of VR interrogations, although the eyes in that game could be really freaky. It could be worse than Resident Evil in VR.
But I'm trying to think of how much of LA Noire I actually played as to whether or not VR would actually be relevant. I didn't get far.
It would be good because I finished it, surprisingly,
Me too.
because it is really long and really fucking boring and really
you can't-
boring.
And you can't get more than 20 minutes into a game of GTA.
This is true. But the interrogations and things I really quite liked. It was a little bit interesting, and it was that thing where you kind of go, you get sucked into all this marketing about the tech. We've got this amazing facial recognition technology, and you'll be able to see every movement on their face. But the problem is, these people are actors, and they have to act like they're lying. So everything is exaggerated. You don't need all of that technology. So actually what you got was really realistic faces and really creepy, bright white eyes looking everywhere. They were freaky. And those in VR, if you can kind of look around them and see them, the eyes going and nothing else, I think that'll be a bit weird.
Oh yeah, in VR, you just walk right up to them and just stare them right in the face.
I was never overly convinced by that game anyway. Everyone else was raving about how amazing it was. And
no, I thought it was long and really shit.
Yeah, it felt a bit flat. I just thought it was just a bit neither here nor there. It
tried a bit too hard to be clever, and it was so long. It was so long. Like, it was 3 discs long on the Xbox 360, and each disc was the length of a game.
Yeah.
There was no need for 3 of those. It was, yeah. But a lot of people loved it. A lot of people really, really loved it.
Yeah, like a massive following as well. Odd.
And you know, I think it's got that built-in following, hasn't it? It's got that everybody loves Rockstar thing.
Yeah.
So it will sell. You know, the 4K re-release will sell, even if it was the worst game ever. It would sell millions because
I'm not totally against a re-release if it's worth it. I mean, if this has got the fan base, then sure, you know, make the effort to see if it's worth re-releasing. If it succeeds, then you know they've got a pretty good back catalogue that can also add to it.
Yeah.
So you know,
I think I'd probably prefer
fair play, I guess.
Max Payne 3. Even though I wasn't that convinced by Max Payne 3, I did enjoy that more than I enjoyed L.A. Noire. But
can I really remember 1? Because I think it's because I played that to death.
Yeah, I think we all did.
2 and 3, I just sort of played once or twice.
Yeah.
Never played again.
But of course, yeah, I think they're just kind of filling in gaps where Red Dead Redemption 2 should have been. Because that was supposed to be out back end of this year, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, didn't that get postponed?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be Easter next year or something.
Yes.
Oh, see, that's not too bad.
But it's only the first delay. It's due another 2 before it actually comes out.
Yeah, Rockstar.
But interesting. I can't remember if I'm reading this right or if I'm remembering right. I think it's coming out on the Switch as well.
Yeah, I read that.
But,
does anybody have a Switch? I mean,
I know 3 people with Switches.
I know.
I know one guy, and tell a lie, I know 2 guys, and neither of them have either finished Zelda or played it in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, I know a few people that own Switches, and by know, I mean I actually know maybe 2. And a few of the podcasts I listen to, some of the guys on those have one. And lots of Mario Kart.
Yep.
And no one quite gets around to finishing Zelda. Because it's not as good as people think.
Never is.
It's fucking Zelda.
Well,
I'm going to anger so many people by saying it, but Zelda is shit.
Yeah, it's not Darksiders, that's the problem.
Yeah, the one of the guys that I know with a Switch bought it with Zelda, obviously, and then took him about 4 months to pick up Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Because he just didn't see himself playing it, I guess.
Well, I'd be interested to know kind of the percentage of people that own a Switch that buy L.A. Noire, because it would be a good indicator for people that would maybe want to play proper games like Zelda and Mario Kart and L.A. Noire, like on the train. Because, you know, portable L.A. Noire could be interesting.
Playing L.A. Noire
would be great. The batteries lasted longer than like an hour and a half.
Well, yeah, but this is the problem, because the game's so fucking intensive. The battery you'll just about get through the title screen.
I reckon they could probably run it on the Vita, to be honest.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
True, except Vita doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't. But it's still a superior console to the Switch, in my eyes. I love my Vita.
I haven't played a Switch yet. Like, I haven't touched a Switch yet.
I haven't even seen one.
Basically, it's the only reason I'm travelling to Birmingham next weekend is so I can touch a
Play
Switch.
one.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to play it, just
Mario
touch it.
Kart. Sneak in some shots as well, because it's not Mario Kart unless you've got shots.
See, I know it's an unpopular opinion. I'm not that big a fan of Mario Kart. I don't mind playing them on occasion.
Or what about shots?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mario Kart's just slow wipeout.
But I'd rather drive around Milton Keynes and throw actual turtles at people.
Yeah, you'd probably get in trouble with
Get
that.
arrested pretty quick for that, I think. Well, I hope so. I mean, there's people putting cats in bin bags and stuff nowadays. I suppose you might get away with it for a couple of days first.
Yeah, someone would have to film it,
Cannibal
otherwise no one would
Holocaust,
believe
that
it.
motherfucker.
If you're not
Problem
filmed
is,
doing
it's the
it,
state
no one
of
knows
the
you've done it.
roads, mate. Too many potholes. You won't get very far.
Yeah, I could. Well,
The
maybe
turtles
you know
just-
what?
You throw them and they go.
I might just bring a few up to Birmingham with me at the weekend. You got a ring road I can go around and throw turtles at people, haven't you? Sure you have.
Make sure you keep some mushrooms to go faster.
There's
not
plenty of ring roads in Birmingham, mate.
Plenty of mushrooms as well.
Yeah, fucking hell, bet.
Well, this took a
That-
weird turn.
That's certainly off topic now. Went from,
Fuck's
So-
sake.
the best thing we're getting out of this is that gone are the days of the HD remaster, and now we get the UHD remasters for Pro and Xbox One X.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, LA Noire did come out on the last generation of machines, so it's not like it's a
Yeah.
PS4 game that's being re-released, because that would just be a patch like we're getting for, well, everything.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'd be quite happy for LA Noire to do well. I won't buy it. I didn't like it. But if it does well, there are a few games that I wouldn't mind getting the UHD treatment for these newer consoles.
Yeah.
You know, Modern Warfare 2.
What? I suppose someone's got to want it, I guess.
Yeah.
I like Modern Warfare 2. But, you know, I don't like Mario Kart, so I'm definitely the exception that proves many rules.
I'm on the fence on either, to be quite honest.
You could probably go through the entire library of the Xbox One backwards compatibility from the 360 generation and just go, you know what? UHD that one, UHD that one, UHD that one.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I mean, surely they'd have the sort of statistics of who'd played the backwards compact games they've released so far to sort of gauge which ones are actually worth, especially Xbox's own IPs.
Yeah.
Which ones are actually worth doing it to.
Well, that's, I mean, they're the obvious ones, aren't they? Like, we had the first one. Can we have the other Gears of War games remastered, please? Because I'm not playing Gears of War UHD and then going to play Gears of War 2 on backwards compatibility. It's not happening, even though I own it several times. Because they keep sending me codes for it.
Yeah, God, I think I've got every copy of Gears about 4 times now.
Yeah.
I only bought one.
Yeah. But I take all of those in UHD format, and like the first one, I would happily go out and, you know, buy physical discs, because I like Gears of War. But yeah, I kind of hope that a few of these games, maybe not Xbox, but like third-party ones, I'd be happy with that.
Mass Effect trilogy.
Oh, John.
Fuck off.
Give it a rest. It's done. Just let it go.
No,
Right, let's
That
see.
universe, after Andromeda, mate, that universe doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. It's in the winds.
No, I want the Shepard storyline in UHD.
I really, really want Asura's Wrath. I don't know if you two guys remember that game.
I do. I love the Sora's
Oh, I
Wrath.
just really want that. That's not even backwards compat yet. It got more votes than half of the games that they've already done.
Yeah.
I just really want to play it again, but I can't be asked to get my 360 out of the cupboard.
But I would, I'd gladly take Sony re-releasing the Killzone games for me. I'll sit and play Killzone 2 PS4. You know,
Yeah, I like to.
even if you make it PS4 Pro exclusive, I would go out and buy a PS4 Pro just to play Killzone 2 in UHD. Because
That's a big step.
it's my fucking favourite game ever.
Fair dude. I didn't. Do you know what I really liked 2 as well? I didn't get on with 3 or any of the other smaller iterations after that, Shadowfall and the one on the Vita.
3 felt a bit churned out and was very short and was more about the voice acting than anything else. But I enjoyed 3. Shadowfall I adored, but mainly because it was very orange and not brown like everything else.
Yeah. What's the Vita? Is that Mercenary?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I got halfway through that. I think I've not finished it yet. But
I
will do next time I have a holiday.
I platinum that fucker. Now, have a look at the trophy list for that. That's a bastard game to platinum.
It looks like it, yeah.
But I've platinumed all of them, and all of them are bastard games to platinum. Apart from 3,
I
actually.
did 2. I think I might have done, or I got close to one of them. I can't remember.
3 is quite easy. You just need to finish it on Elite, which isn't really that difficult. But, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to talk about Killzone.
Are you sure? It certainly.
I was just trying to steer the subject away from Mass Effect, mate. To be quite honest with you.
I fear I'm going to be doing the same when we start talking about Destiny later on. So I'll save my Killzone 2 conversation for then.
Okay.
I promise I won't talk about Mass Effect again after this next mentioning of the word Mass Effect.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Other news, which strange enough we're still doing, is that they're making more mini, tiny, little classic Nintendo console things.
Do you know what? I laughed my arse off when I read this. When I was going through all the websites I was to look for some news for us to talk about, and I saw this, I genuinely laughed my arse off. All these people that have bought scalped NES Minis for 4 times the price, they're bringing them back.
Yep.
They're going to start making more.
One of my mates bought one for 115 quid,
Hell.
which although, isn't loads over, it's still sort of 2.5 times the price.
Yeah.
Which is mental, really.
I get the point. I get the people want to own these things, and Nintendo purposefully fucked with supply to raise it. But it's all part of their plan. Everybody wants a NES Mini. Now they've announced they're bringing back more NES Minis. They will sell out instantly, and Nintendo could sell them for £100 a pop, and no one would bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Nintendo's such a weird company when it comes to stuff like that. They just seem to do whatever the fuck they want, and people still buy that crap. I just don't get it.
It's one of those things. If Xbox or Microsoft or Sony done that for, I don't know, an OG Xbox Classic with 50 original games on it, not that that's ever going to be a thing, and only sold 12, and everybody, people would destroy Microsoft for it.
Yeah.
But literally, people go, "Oh, it's Nintendo. It's all right. It's just what they do. It's Nintendo. We love them. Fuck
take
you."
my money, throwing money at the computer screen, just going,
Yeah.
come on, just take it. You know you want me to pay £30 for the Ocarina of Time remastered 20,000 times later.
Yeah, but the stupid, what are the little figurine things they make?
Oh, the fucking amiibos.
Amiibo, cunt bags. The shit they pulled with that, or with them.
Such a shit move.
Oh. It's why literally I go, I fancy a Switch. I'm not giving Nintendo my money. I will buy one when it's cheap.
So, next year.
Yeah.
After they've made another 20 or so.
Yeah. But, and the SNES thing, yeah, I kind of got to give them a little bit of credit for that. Before the thing's released properly, they said they will be making more, that we will keep making them until, I don't know, whatever, spring next year or something.
Till the N64 Mini Classic.
Yeah, so don't go out and buy one for £397 from that dude on eBay who looks a bit sketchy. Buy one from us for £340.
Yeah. See, I didn't buy the NES because it only had one controller, and people were saying that the controller lead wasn't very long, and I was like, well, I don't want to buy something that I'm going to have to buy more shit for.
Yeah.
Especially when I could just sort of get a ROM and just play it myself anyway.
Yeah.
So, but with the SNES Mini, you get 2 controllers and slightly extended leads and X amount of games. I think it was like 30 something games. And I thought, well, you know what? If I can get one of them on the pre-order when they first release it, I thought I will. And so I pre-ordered the SNES from Amazon at standard cost of what I think it was £64 65, 70 quid. Something like that. I can't remember now off the top of my head.
There's a hell of a list of games on that thing as well.
Yeah. I mean, I was a Mega Drive kid, so it's going to be new for me, most of them.
See, I was SNES. I was a SNES kid. I just didn't buy that many games. Which were when we went through the list when they announced it. We had Matt Lamborn on with us, and we went through the list. And I knew maybe half of the games. He's going, nah, it's just this and that. I don't fucking know. But the games I knew, yeah, awesome games for the most part. Not an awful lot of filler either, which is impressive for something like that. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't think there's any other news.
The only other thing, which is a brief mention, and that is, to as much as your enjoyment it will be, is that the FIFA 18 demo is now live.
Woo!
Yeah.
I'm there, Holmes.
Must rush to play.
Yep. So, on to what we've been playing. So, Brooker, you've not played really anything based on the entire fact that you were expecting us to fill this next 4.5 hours worth of time onto us playing Destiny 2.
Well, I tell you what, right? I'll give you a slight insight as to how my brain works when we start planning what we're doing for these episodes. I know you're only going to want to talk about Mass Effect, so I have to talk about something else. And that's pretty much every week.
Yep. I'd accept that.
No, but in seriousness, I try to, if there's a big game I'm playing and I can spread it across a couple of weeks, I do, but I try and talk about something else as well. So actually, I've started on a couple of games, but I've been busy doing several things, but more recently dealing with child who's just started primary school, and trying to finish off my 365 films challenge. So while I started a couple of games, I'm not far enough in to talk about them. I can blag one of them because I've just started playing the Uncharted trilogy, and I've already platinumed the Uncharted trilogy, or the Uncharted games on PS3, so I could blag my way through if I want to, but I don't want to. I'm going to save them, and I can bank some games then, so if I have a slow week, I can bring back something I haven't talked about yet and make it look like I waste my time playing games, when in fact I wasted my time doing something else. Sleeping or
plan.
Masturbating.
Or both.
Surely you don't waste a hell of a lot of time masturbating.
I don't know, I do it so often that it just takes so long now.
What, cumulative time of about 4 minutes a day?
About that, yeah. But you got to get everyone out the house. You got to.
Do you?
Yeah.
If it's only taking you 30 seconds, mate, you can just cough while you're doing it.
Just off for a wee, love. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, just tell her you're going for a shower or something and turn the shower on.
Brooks, that's your 4th shower a day. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm a sweaty bastard.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of went, this works really well for me because I can do my film thing. I can do a little bit of gaming, but I haven't got to worry about finishing anything because you two motherfuckers are going to talk about a game that I literally couldn't give a shit about. So please talk about Destiny 2.
I thought you were going to say Mass Effect.
No, no, I fucking was not.
So anyway, Destiny 2, very, very nearly said it, was released Wednesday last week, which was a day. I've already forgotten the date.
Last Wednesday will be fine.
Yeah, last Wednesday. And although went live at varying times on the Tuesday, depending on where you were in the world, it was essentially 11 p.m. in whichever time zone it was. It went live. So it was available in New Zealand a good, almost 12 hours before it was available in the States.
But that's okay because New Zealand doesn't have internet.
Yeah, much to the annoyance and the hatred and the complete and utter Twitter rage of everyone in America just spamming the Destiny Twitter
come
account.
On. This is how time zones work, you fucking...
And they said, why not have it go live at the same time for everyone?
Idiots.
Was a simple answer to that. it's a worldwide game, and going at the same time for everyone is gonna be several million people hitting your servers all at once.
I mean, to be fair, the Destiny Twitter account, customer support, whatever, their answer simply should have been, well, fuck you, now you're not getting it till Friday like everybody else.
Well, what they should have said was, well, it is being released for everyone at the same time. You're all getting it at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
So sod off.
I think it's because they were so vocal about the fact that that's when the server switch on time was, because it was only for physical copy holders only. Because if you had it on digital, you get it when your time zone hit midnight as per digital licensing.
Yeah.
If you had the physical copy, you had to wait until 11 p.m. of the day before your physical copy would let you onto the Destiny servers.
Yeah.
Naturally, that's not good enough for people who want, pre-order it and get their copy the day early. They're like, oh, I want to play it right now.
You
Can't. You have to wait for it to go live.
I remember this a couple of years ago. What was it? What was the Call of Duty game that had the Day Zero edition? Was it Advanced Warfare?
I thought it was... No, wait. It might have been...
Which one was the Kevin Spacey simulator?
Advanced Warfare.
Yeah. So they done the Day Zero edition. So the game was going to release on Tuesday, but you could pre-order the Day Zero edition and you'd get it on Monday. So I pre-ordered the Day Zero edition on disc. So, and my mate pre-ordered the Day Zero edition on digital. So he got his Day Zero edition on Monday. Mine turned up the Friday before because post. And the rage. Well, you're playing it for me. I pre-ordered this version especially so I could play it for everybody else. Well,
so did I.
So did I.
Was just smart enough to do it on disc.
And now only one of our wishes came true and it was mine. Fucking idiots.
One of the local shops near me used to let you come down and pick up the game from whenever they received it. So sometimes it was even so much as a week early, but you couldn't have your receipt. You had to go back and pick your receipt up on the day that the game was released.
See, I kind of like that because that's very... They could get into trouble if, secret shopper turned up to buy one. But if regulars they know, your receipt will be dated on release day. But you can have your game.
That's what it was. They used to let the locals... Well, I presume it was just locals. They used to write... I mean, I used to buy all my games from there when they were reasonably priced and the internet wasn't so easily accessible.
See, I would still... If they were reasonably priced, a couple of quid either way from digital version, I'd still buy from a physical store if I could find something in Milton Keynes that wasn't a fucking chain.
Yeah. Not happening.
No. Anyways, continue, gentlemen. Or John, because Lee hasn't said anything about Destiny yet.
I'm just waiting for him to jump in with something interesting to say.
I bought Destiny. I bought Destiny on Wednesday last week.
Yeah.
The date that John doesn't know. It was the 6th.
The 6th of September. Thank you.
You make it sound like you knew, but you had plenty of time to whack up the calendar on your phone and figure it out.
I didn't even use my phone.
I admit nothing.
Anyways, continue. Or don't. We don't have to talk about Destiny.
Know. John, what are you playing at?
Come on, Lee. You've got the physical copy on the Wednesday.
So I bought the limited edition.
Talk about this game. I'm going to have to find something to talk about, and it won't be Destiny.
Okay. So basically, John, obviously I know, bought the digital edition because he shares console, blah, blah, blah. I bought the limited edition physical copy, which was nice. I got it from Amazon, so a bit of a plug there. Amazon, send me some free stuff. And I got some sort of crazy discount and ended up getting it roughly £15 cheaper than what it was actually on sale for. So I was £77, I think I paid for it in the end.
That's not bad.
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, it's got a steel book and a big box and comes with a load of fancy shit that I've not read yet and I don't really understand because I never really do. But it is nice, and it does come with the expansion packs the first and second expansion packs, and some fancy premium digital content. You know what you would expect. But for the price of £77, I thought, you know, it's come with the first 2 DLCs, which are more than likely going to be 20 quid, 15, 20 quid, 25 quid a piece.
Yeah.
I thought it's a no-brainer really for me to buy that. Plus, I only ever buy physical copies because I'm a bit of a hoarder. So, you know, it's totally worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things, if you know you're going to play the expansions from the season pass, it's worth spending the money, especially if you get it cheap.
Yeah. Plus, you know, my shelf's already got Destiny 1 special edition, so it'd be rude not to get the second one as well. Otherwise, my shelf would look out of shape.
This is true.
I can't believe anyone bought the special edition of Destiny 1, apart from the fact that it was being made by Bungie.
Special edition, the first one with the
I didn't buy
Ghost.
the one with anything fancy. I bought the limited edition, so just like the steelbook and a load of gear.
Okay.
And the DLC. I bought it because, cut a long story short, I ordered the vanilla, got sent the vanilla twice, so I got a free copy. So I sold 2 copies of the vanilla, had 80 quid, bought the limited edition.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's more acceptable, because the game that was released for Destiny 1 was not worth spending any money on a limited edition version.
No.
From
Well,
the start.
Are either of you
Okay.
on Virgin Internet, and did you get your Virgin exclusive Sparrow?
I'm on Virgin Internet, and no, I didn't. And now I'm interested, and now I want it more than I've ever wanted anything ever.
Did you not know about this?
Well, no, clearly.
Hold on.
Yeah,
My keyboard
Destiny
is so
and
loud,
Virgin
there's
have a-
no way I can hide Googling stuff while we're talking.
Wow, you're right.
Yeah. Fucking Max.
But Virgin and Destiny actually have a pretty big deal in this country. Last year's EGX had a Virgin 200 Gaming Vivid Destiny tournament where you had to do the new Wretched Eye Strike from Destiny 1 in the shortest time frame, and the winning Fire team got a year's supply of Virgin Vivid 200 Gaming broadband, assuming you could actually have it at where you lived.
Fair enough.
So you couldn't in Milton Keynes.
No.
200 meg in Milton Keynes.
UK Virgin Fibre customers will get an exclusive Sparrow vehicle in Destiny 2, decorated in the brand's red and white livery.
Nice. I've just emailed it off for my copy. Already done it.
Fuck me.
What now?
Oh,
Well,
Do you think you
later.
do you think with the Virgin, is it going to have the Virgin logoing on it? 'Cause
No,
you
it's
could
kind
put-
of. I'll tell you what it looks like.
It's just a sparrow with red and white.
Well, it basically
shade on.
it looks like a red and white wipeout car. It's basically what you can imagine the Virgin space flight thing being when it becomes a real thing.
I bet I could make that sparrow based on any other sparrow with a red and white shader, because you can put shaders on sparrows.
Fair
I
enough.
don't care. I
Let's
don't care.
He wants his Virgin one now.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was also there's also an armor set that's being changed because apparently it has the logo of a hate group on it.
It's an imaginary hate group. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's not even a real hate group. I seen that on Twitter today and just pissed myself. Like, I shown the wife and I says, "Have you ever seen this flag before?" She goes, "No, what is it?" I was like, "It's a hate group." She's, "Oh, really?" Okay.
Isn't it like a World of Warcraft hate group or something? It's a
I
hate
think-
group for
I think
something.
the thing was it was created by people on Reddit based on a World of Warcraft meme. I don't fucking know. Reddit and World of Warcraft. You already make me want to slit my own wrists. I don't want to know. But yeah.
Yeah.
So poor older Destiny players are losing some of their armor because faux outrage.
Yep.
I have now unlocked the Athena Victorious Virgin Special Sparrow in Destiny 2. Screw you guys.
I'm going to bed.
Fucking free DLC. Get in my pants. I love it.
Boy, am I glad I was reading this and not listening, because I've no idea what just happened.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. So, have you two actually played any of Destiny, or we just staring at nice boxes at the moment?
No, I've played loads.
We've all
Played
finished
loads
the story.
ish. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've played every night, but only for 2 hours because that's my allotted game time per evening now.
Fair
with
enough.
child.
Yeah.
As you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, Destiny 2 starts exactly the same way that the beta did, where you have that bit at the start with the tower under attack from the Cabal, the Red Legion, and you get to meet the Vanguard, do their cool, interesting things with their supers. And instead of it being like in the beta at level 20 and you get an exotic weapon to start with just to, tide you over, you start at level 1.
Are the enemies all the same level as they were in the beta, though?
No, unfortunately not.
That's
because otherwise
good.
that'd be near impossible.
Yes. Or you'd be fully leveled by the end of it.
Yeah, true. So you're level 1, going through this level 1 area, it's exactly the same. You don't get given the exotic weapon.
Okay.
Obviously.
No, you don't. I was a little bit disappointed at that when I pulled off that gun rack and thought, what? Where the fuck's my exotic, you bastards?
I'm still trying to work out how to get that minigun because I don't know yet. Because I'm playing as the Titan, which gets a minigun as an exotic.
Oh, yeah, no, I've not got that yet.
It's a scout rifle for you, isn't it? Or is it a fusion rifle?
I have no idea.
And probably a hand cannon for the hunter again. So from that, you would then move and you discover the farm, which is the new social space for the story.
So that's the Destiny 2 equivalent of the tower.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're not running any spoilers, are we? Just so I know to keep my content.
No, don't
sitting
spoil.
on the ground.
Don't spoil anything, but do also remember that you're talking to a non-Destiny player.
So the farm is exactly how it sounds. It's a farm. There's a barn, and there are chickens. Chickens
Why?
actually, because
you're on a farm. What?
Yeah.
What is that sort of question? Why is the chickens on a farm? Because it's a fucking farm.
Where's this farm come from?
outside the wall of the last city. It's past the Twilight Gap, which is actually a thing. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean,
it's out in the wilderness, just where a load of normal humans had been living and surviving.
Even though
basically.
no life had survived. Okay, continue.
Yep, there's normal humans outside the city with loads of fallen around them, as you discover when you go walking off in the first mission after the tower gets blown up.
The chickens attack them.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Do the chickens attack you?
Occasionally.
Okay.
You can make the chickens go fucking mental by walking near them.
Okay.
Seriously, the first chicken I saw, it was just standing there casually pecking at the floor. So I walked over to it and it just went fucking batshit insane.
They
Just
are
like
unusually interactive for an NPC chicken.
Yeah. Like NPC characters in Destiny as a whole, you walk near them and they just continue sweeping the floor.
Okay.
But the chickens actually just run around and go fucking mental if you go near them.
Okay.
So the farm has essentially a Flora's Hot Lava type game where you can run around the farm collecting light, something, I don't know, some kind of spark, and you have to move between checkpoints, and you have to do it there's an order to it, I think, and then when you get to the end, it's a time trial type situation where you
checkpoint racing.
Yeah, basically it's a checkpoint, but you don't know where the checkpoints are off without actually going around and finding them because it doesn't highlight them.
Okay.
So you need to know where you're going, go around, and then the faster you can do it, nothing really happens. It gives you a time.
Okay.
One of my mates did it in 71 seconds, so it's something to do on the farm, I guess.
There's the football as well.
And there's a football pitch or soccer pitch if you're you. Yeah. And it's just occasionally you'll come across people playing on there. It's first to score 3 wins.
Okay.
There's fireworks. If you score a goal, it resets the ball back to the middle and you get a little check on a little digital display board. and then after you score 3 on into one goal, fireworks go off,
Okay.
and it resets the counters. So that's the farm.
Okay. So, Destiny 2 has a story mode.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. A proper story mode, or a go and have a look at Bungie.com and read some cards kind of story mode.
I
Okay.
don't think there's a read cards.
I'm sure there's not a read card. There's interactive items laced throughout all of the maps, including the public zones.
Okay, but
that
does it
you
actually
can
have
sort of scan.
Does it actually have a single player campaign?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it's different this time.
Well, by different, do you mean it's there?
Yes. Well, there was a story as such. It was sort of more just missions on the first that had a little bit of sort of talking here and there.
A bit of exposition as you walk through some of the areas.
This is an actual direct story mode, so you can't. Once you've completed this story mission, you can't access that story mission again, apart from in some sort of special missions given to you once you've finished the game.
Okay.
So they are actual story missions now, whereas John and I used to use story missions on the first as a way to sort of grind through certain enemies and things like that. You don't have that opportunity anymore. It is actually just for the story, which is nice. It's a nice touch.
How is it?
Yeah, it's good. I've only got one complaint about the whole of the story. I thought everything else was great, but your character, the Guardian, as is called, your character is now mute, where they weren't in the first. So somewhere along the line, they've lost their voice.
Okay.
And I don't get it. Not in a story-driven game like this. It doesn't make any sense. It just some of the story, some of the talking between your character and the NPCs just falls flat because of what they're saying. You're just sort of walking away while they're talking to you and not saying anything. It just doesn't make any sense.
Fair enough.
And there's the lovely scene which I came across after Lee had made the comment to me while we were in a party chat about him hating the fact that your character doesn't talk. I came across an NPC who asks you a question, and it looks like you're about to answer him when the ghost pops up with the answer.
Yeah. The ghost basically just fills in and does all the talking for you. Maybe because, just employing Nolan North is cheaper than employing a couple of extra people to do the voices for your Guardian, I guess. It's a money thing.
So
it
Nolan North is back to the ghost.
It's all Nolan North, which I don't mind. I love the guy. Bless him.
Fair enough.
I think he's great.
Cool.
Although I don't like the ghost.
Okay.
The ghost is fucking annoying.
How long did the single player last?
Fucking annoying.
It took me 3 days. So, 8 hours? Probably 8, 9, 10 hours.
I think I got maybe 3 hours on the start of one day before buggering off up north to see family. And then I've managed to finish the rest of the story in one pretty simple sitting. Got myself to level 20.
The last story mission, you have to be level 15. So, judging by that, you could probably just do each story mission one after the next without doing anything in between, and you could probably knock it out in 6 hours.
Okay.
If you were good at shooters. So for a guy like you that can play Killzone, you shouldn't have any trouble just walking through it, really.
Yeah.
But obviously, as most games would get, the enemies do become bullet sponges when you're at lower levels. So we did a lot. I did a fair bit of sort of walking around and just actually doing other shit as well to level up.
Are they really annoying kind of bullet sponges that make you want to go, nope, not doing this anymore, fuck you?
No. Not as much as they were in the first. In the first game, some of them were just ridiculous, where you would just be shooting, all three of you would just be shooting into an enemy for about half an hour. Now it feels better balanced.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot better balanced now. With there's a lot more to an enemy normally now. There's a lot, there's other smaller things that you could be doing, or you can do while you're shooting one enemy. It's not just you've got one big boss and you got wave after wave of enemies coming towards you.
Yeah.
They've tried to mix it up a little bit now.
Fair enough.
which is quite evident in public missions. Now they were around on the first game, but there was no way of you figuring out where or when they were, apart from using third-party websites, which had done basic tracking on the internet and so on and so forth.
Relied heavily on people saying that it was people actually being there ready for the event to press a button to say the event's here.
And that's what they relied on. But now they're on the actual map, so people are always there. Now you go there more often than not. Other people turn up as well because everybody else wants to do them. And those bosses, they have their own sort of additional things you can do to change them as well. So that's really good. I think that I feel like they've put a lot more thought into a lot of it, and there isn't as many cons as I was expecting.
Okay, well, that is good because one, I've said a dozen times I didn't get on with, didn't understand, didn't like. But one of my biggest gripes, and we had this conversation on a previous episode, one of my biggest gripes about Destiny 1, and I want to know if this has been simplified, is the fucking insane amount of currencies.
So it has been simplified. But there is still
because I do hear a big hairy butt hanging around that corner.
There is still quite a lot of currencies, it seems, and I get the feeling that the same will happen when the expansion packs start coming. Is that they'll introduce more so that you can only upgrade the gear from that expansion with the currency you get from that expansion pack. That's how they did it originally, which is why it ended up with about 50,000 currencies. Now how it works is you've got basically money, so money is used to do everything. Legendary marks, which are used to upgrade your best gear.
They're the ones you get from playing in the Crucible.
They're Crucible marks, I think, in number 1. I'm not sure if they're in this one or not. Okay. And then you get reputation from each individual person. So each for the 4 planets have rep icons, and then the Vanguard and a couple of other people in the tower have rep icons. So they've all got their own rep. So they've definitely simplified it.
Fair enough.
Time will tell on that one.
So, I have kind of 2 questions then, and they're kind of almost the same. So, in general, what improvements have been made over Destiny 1 into 2? And is there anything there that would make me go and play it? Okay, maybe not me, because I just don't want to fucking play it, but someone that didn't like or didn't play Destiny 1, is there anything there that would make them jump in and play Destiny 2?
If they've played one,
that just
to be fair, I was waiting to see if John jumped in first because I didn't want to do all the talking on John's hosted podcast.
I'll be honest, I completely missed the first question.
Douchebag.
Sorry. Okay, so for me, yes. Even if they've played the first one, there's more in this. The reward scheme is better. Even I've only been playing it for a few days. It feels better already. That I don't feel like I'm getting shat on every time by RNGesus taking a piss on me when I'm trying to wait for something. It feels like I'm actually getting rewarded, and it can do missions to get better weapons and things like that. So it seems to be working. The story is infinitely better, and even with the massive con of having a mute guardian, the story is still much better. It feels better. It feels like they've actually made an effort. I mean, it doesn't feel a million miles away from Halo, but it still does feel better.
Okay.
Weapons are just there is no shooter out there. There is no other shooter out there where there's so much variation in weapons, and they're still each and every one of them is just as crisp as the last. They're just not missing a beat with any of them. Where, with games like COD and stuff, there's a finite number of weapons. You're talking, 40, 50 weapons.
Yeah.
In this, there must be hundreds. There must be hundreds of weapons with the slightest little adjustments to them. It is how they've done it is brilliant, but each and every single one of them is works exactly how you expect it to work. It's great.
Okay.
The drops and the NPC rewards feel a lot better this time round. Talking to people feels a little bit better. So you can go and do things for them on a planet and go back to that person and get rewarded, and a decent reward at that.
Yeah.
Once you've done so many of them. So that's good, and I like that. I like the fact that they've introduced a couple of extra characters. Well, I mean, where the fuck were they on the first game? But, irrelevant. There's less of a grind now. I think the big deal with the first one was that players like you and other people that just, and myself now even, that don't have all the hours under the sun to play this game to the death to get everything.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter so much anymore. I mean, like I said, I've been putting in a couple of hours a night.
Yeah.
With a few days off here and there. And I'm I think I'm ready for sort of the high end post-completion content now, more or less.
Cool.
So, yeah, so the grind's definitely not as bad. I don't feel like I've not had to do the same mission over and over and over and over again to try and get one particular gun to make me powerful enough.
Yeah.
It just seems now that once you get to a certain power level, everything that you get dropped after that is your power level or above.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's how it should be, and that's how it should have been. So they've taken the good things from the first, and they're straight off on the second. So I imagine, further down the line, it should improve even more.
Nice.
One of the biggest issues one had was that you couldn't max your level unless you did the raid content.
Yeah.
Difference that was then changed at the end with Rise of Iron, when you could reach the maximum level without raiding, because every item would eventually be able to infuse up to that level. This one has a similar kind of halfway between the two. You can't get above 250 light via normal means. You have to do the special weekly challenges that you get and various other things. I mean, it's not locked behind being able to raid, but it is locked to by the way, if you want to get a better version of this, you kind of need to do this challenge and then do this challenge, and then you can get a decent bit of kit, but then you can't do it again for another week. So it's kind of falsely, locking away the level cap, and forcing people to be a bit, slower about it. But there are enough ways of doing it that if you really did want to grind it out and be maximum level first, you probably could be the maximum level by now.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
So I was going back to Lee's about the gun. I mean, every person has a personal preference of which guns they prefer. Me personally, I love pulse rifles. So if I find a really nice pulse rifle, I'll keep hold of it, even if I get a better gun that's, say, an auto rifle or a scout rifle.
Yeah.
I won't care too much about it. But a pulse rifle, I'll keep, even if it's until it gets to a point where I'm that underleveled carrying it. I then need to move on to whichever gun I find next, which will lift me up.
Yeah.
Lee's got the opposite. He fucking hates hand cannons. Correct?
Correct.
So there's an exotic hand cannon in the end game that you unlock, which the more people in your fire team that have it. So if you go into a raid with a 6-man team, if all of you are carrying this gun, it gets 6 times its base stats. So its damage input's increased, its reload speed's increased. Everything is 6 times better because all of you are carrying it.
I'm not sure it's 6 times better, but it does. It has a 6 buff. Let's say it that much. It does. I'm not sure it's 6 times the power, because that'd just be OP.
Well, I guess it's got a massive buff depending on how many people are using it. So the more of you that have it, the better it gets. Okay. But naturally, Lee probably won't put a lot of time and effort into getting hold of this gun.
If it's important for a group game, then I'd make the effort. But generally, I would stick to scout rifles, because that's just my style of play. It's just how I play. Yeah.
Lee's biggest issue being the reload speed of hand cannons, and the fire rate of hand cannons is considerably slower than a scout rifle. You could probably fire, half a magazine of scout rifle in the time it takes me to fire 2 rounds of hand cannon, and do the same amount of damage.
Yeah.
Plus the reload of the scout rifle is considerably quicker than a hand cannon. But with the 6 buff, if the reload speed for the hand cannon's buffed enough, it could be a viable solution with 6 of you carrying it, or maybe even the 3 of you carrying it in a regular fire team.
Yeah. The thing is, for me, I think it's because I grew up playing Halo and I grew up with the battle rifle and the DMR, and that just transferred to the scout rifle so well. And there was no representation of the hand cannon in Halo, so I'd never played with a gun like that. So that's why I don't feel entirely comfortable playing with that weapon, I think.
So there's a couple of other guns around which could prove interesting. So every so often in some of the set missions, you get gifted a weapon. I mean, and there's one which there's an option. So at the end of the mission, it goes, here, you can pick one of these 3 exotics. They're all elemental weapons, so they sit in what was the secondary slot.
What do you mean, what was? What is it now?
It's the elemental slot. So the gun slots are what used to be primary is now just kinetic weapons, so it's anything that's just regular bullets. Secondaries, which used to be shotgun, sniper rifles, and sidearms, and fusion rifles, is now elementals.
Okay.
So it's the void damage, the arc damage, and the solar damage.
But it's still the same as the primary weapons. So it's your scout rifle, your hand cannons. It's just that they've got an elemental attachment to them.
And then the new version of heavy weapons includes the sniper rifle, the fusion rifle, and the shotgun. But it also still has the rocket launcher and the heavy machine gun, which was the only 2 heavy weapons. Oh, and the sword, which later came in Destiny 1. But there's also another new one, which is a grenade launcher, which actually are pretty cool.
There's quite a few new ones. I mean, the grenade launcher is the main single type, but there are a couple of others as well that are technically new types of weapons, but kind of fall under the other classes as well, because there's that cold fusion rifle, and things like fire the beams and stuff like that, like lasers and stuff. So they've introduced a few other things.
So I was playing with someone who had I think it was an auto rifle that fired a beam. So it was, I think the beam based on the weapon variant is how long the beam lasts for. But there was a fallen Walker tank, so it's like the Spider tank public event. I think you see a Spider tank in Destiny 1 during the Sepix Prime strike. Brooker, I think we saw it, you played it.
Did I?
Yeah, the one with the giant servitor at the end of Destiny 1 strike mission. Or we might not have unlocked that one because we weren't reading.
We had issues with the strike missions, didn't we? So we didn't actually play any.
It's a tank on 6 legs.
Yeah,
it's the same as the thing from the end of Ghost in the Shell.
Yes, very much the same.
Pretty much. And the dude, we'd taken one of the legs off of the Spider tank, so it had fallen down. It had opened up its weak point. And the dude literally just jumped on top of it and just pointed his auto rifle beam into this weak point and just held it there. And and it was the damage, the health on the Spider tank was literally just slowly creeping down as he was just standing there holding the beam onto it. So pretty overpowered, I'm guessing, but
it's not that overpowered. They're quite weak, but they work better the closer you get. But they are good for people like Brooker and I, who obviously, we're getting on a bit, ish. We're coming up to middle aged. we can't be pulling the trigger all the time because we'll get carpal tunnel. So it's handy just to be able to hold the trigger instead.
There's a couple of full auto scout rifles out there.
That's true.
I actually found one the other day. I was really, really pleased, and then
they're all a bit pants so far, the full autos. Yeah. So, I don't hate the new weapon setup, but I don't love it at the same time. I've put this kind of in between my cons and pros. So I really miss having a shotgun as my backup weapon. My style of play would involve the scout rifle for anything medium to long distance. And then a secondary weapon used to be my shotgun for crowd control and close quarters.
Yeah. That's pretty much how I play. I play with a scout rifle, I play with an assault rifle, and something short range and powerful.
Yeah,
and
so
then rocket launcher for emergencies.
Rocket for heavy, just to take off some of the damage on the bigger enemies. Now that kind of they've drilled that away because there is no crowd control weapon in your main set now. The crowd control sits on your heavy weapon, which means you don't get half as much ammo. That's not to say that the elementals aren't powerful, but it's the style of weapons that they are.
Yeah.
They don't really suit themselves. So you've got auto rifles, scout rifles, pulse rifles. They don't really suit themselves as crowd control, close quarters weapons.
Okay.
Hand cannon, while it's got lots of power, you only get 6 bullets, so it's crap for crowd control anyway. So you generally sort of edge towards the assault rifle, just so that you can sort of spray bullets and run off. Because I think I just need to switch up my style of play to make it work better.
Yeah, I think this is why I always liked having an assault rifle, because I'm half decent with an assault rifle at mid and long range, but it also means that if you get overrun, you can spray and pray and run.
Yeah.
Which is helpful.
Yeah. But at the same time, I like the change because it's forcing me to play the game differently.
Yeah.
Whereas before you would kind of keep that secondary weapon because ammo was half as scarce as it was for your primary. You would keep that weapon as one that you would use in sort of not emergencies exactly, but a slightly stressful situations. Whereas now there's plenty of ammo for your elemental and there's plenty for the kinetic, so you can use either or. And that's another way that it's forced you to just change. And at the same time, you're using multiple weapons, whereas before you would generally just use the one for most circumstances. So that's kind of nice too, having the option to use 2 different weapons, and it mixes things up, keeps it fresh. It's quite good so far.
Cool.
I think the idea for the way the weapons are is that you're supposed to use the old style regular guns for your regular enemies, obviously, and the elemental guns are for the ones carrying shields, which, well, the elemental is supposed to be to taking out that shield. And the heavy, yes, the problem is that the heavy ammo is scarce, and your shotgun, your fusion rifle users, and the old sniper rifles, it is quite difficult to use them again, because at that point you're also sacrificing the ability to have a rocket launcher or the heavy machine gun.
Plus, it's interesting to see if they've balanced it really well, because shotguns must be ultra powerful now that they're a heavy weapon. If they're competing with a rocket launcher, they must be something special. And I've not really found one that's anything special yet.
Well, they're still the same. It's a one-shot kill on most regular-based enemies is the shotgun. And that's great, but a rocket launcher kills a crowd.
Yeah. Have you used a shotgun yet on it?
I've used 1 or 2 and got very disappointed because I've got, I think I've got a legendary shotgun that I was gifted. It's one of my highest light weapons. So I'm carrying it almost all the time. Ran up to a captain, so a regular shielded enemy, with an arc shotgun. So it was an arc shielded enemy, arc shotgun. Put a shot into him, took his shield out. Second shot, only did 3/4 of his health.
Oh, you see now, while I appreciate your comment, you're shit. So there's no guarantee that you even hit him.
Fuck you.
Shotguns have a lot of damage. They do. But it's really hard to track the damage because they're done over shrapnel, and you see like 15 different numbers popping up on the screen all at the same time. It's hard to track actually how much damage they're doing. I think that's the issue for me. Whereas a rocket launcher, you fire it once, you get one big explosion and one big number, and you know exactly how much damage is done.
Well, you get lots of little numbers from that crowd you just annihilated, but then they're all dead, so it doesn't really matter.
So I'm going to reserve judgment until I've found a shotgun that's usable.
Yeah, the good thing with the shells and the way the damage works is that each one individually can be a critical. So if you get up close and personal with a critical point, you do get a large number of yellows rather than loads of whites like you used to do, because a shotgun never really got many criticals for.
No.
Same with fusion rifles. They're difficult. I've actually used to love fusion rifles in Destiny 1, but I've picked up 3 in Destiny 2 and they're just not the same.
Yeah.
As a heavy weapon, you fire it into a crowd and it's just not right. There's something not right with the fusion rifles. I think it's because I haven't got an armor-piercing one yet, which
Maybe.
Probably the most entertaining part is an armor-piercing fusion rifle.
Have you tried a grenade launcher?
Apart from the one you're given right at the start, no.
I've got 2 exotic grenade launchers already for a weapon that I hate using. I'm not a fan. I'll be honest, I'm not. There may be one out there that works for me, but at the minute, you have to be too accurate. If you miss the enemy, the grenade just goes on bouncing around behind them and does nothing to anyone.
Yeah.
One of them I got, you could hold the trigger as you fired it and release it when you wanted to explode. But when you're in the middle of a firefight, you get your heavy weapon out, you jump up in the air, you fire it. I don't really have time to think about holding my trigger down and letting it go at the optimum point, because I generally use a heavy as I'm running away. So I'm not entirely convinced by the grenade launchers just yet.
I've tried sniper rifles as a heavy. They're exactly the same as sniper rifles were before. You hit the enemy in the face, it's going to die. Doesn't really matter if they've got a shield or not. But I think the most enjoyment I've had is actually from carrying sidearms. At the moment, I've got a legendary sidearm called the Drang, which has in its writing a kill with this instantly reloads the Sturm, which I'm assuming the Sturm is another legendary or possibly even exotic sidearm that sits in one of the other slots. So it'll be a kinetic sidearm. So it could prove a good combo to have those two. So I'm assuming Sturm will have in its writing kills with this will instantly reload Drang. So
that's right. Yeah, there's quite a few guns in this one that are related to each other as well. I've heard people talking about. I've not actually seen any yet.
Yeah. Well, so there was a couple of guns that were related to each other in Destiny 1, but that was only in text. Like,
yeah. I mean, it didn't do anything when you had them both equipped or anything like that. Whereas, obviously, like we mentioned earlier, there's the Rat Pack, which obviously, if the entire fire team has it, you get boosted damage. Then there's this one that you're talking about, where if you've got it in one slot, it reloads the other slot or whatever.
Yeah, which could be fun. I think Destiny 1, the only one that I really remember actually having mentions with each other is The Last Word and The First Call, I think it was called. It was just 2 exotic hand cannons that one had ridiculous fire rate, the other one had ridiculous damage.
Mm.
So, but that was pretty much just the only real tie-in together, and you couldn't have them both equipped at the same time. They didn't really do anything. There was no benefit to having one over the other.
Yeah. Well, all in all, I'm very happy with it so far. I've not got too many complaints. The maps that they've introduced on each of the planets, while you don't get a lot of input into them during the story mode, they feel very complex at the minute for me, because I don't know my way around. I'm still sort of finding my feet on each of the maps. The EDZ, the European Dead Zone, which is the Earth map, I'm kind of getting used to my way around. They've introduced those new loot cave. I don't know what they're called. Loot caves.
Basically, lost sectors.
Lost sectors. Yeah, I like that touch. I think that's great. For Brooker's benefit and the listeners' benefit. You'll find a little funny symbol on the map. You follow they've got maps now, but you follow that little symbol on the map, and you go through a hole, and you go through a whole sort of series of corridors and open spaces, killing enemies and so on and so forth. And at the end of it, you've got a chest after you beat a boss, and they're on every map. And I like that touch. I think it adds something different. It makes the maps feel a little bit more lively.
Alive.
Yeah, different. Yeah, it's nice. I like the complexity of it so far.
What I don't like about the map with those things is that the radar doesn't actually have a compass on it.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of annoying.
You pull the map up and you see that there's a lost sector in the area you're in that you're looking for, and it's west of you by like 100 yards. So you go, okay, so you turn around and you start walking thinking, yeah, this is going to be west. Turns out you're not walking anywhere near the right direction, so you then have to spend ages pulling the map up, turning around, opening the map up again, turning around a bit more, and then walking in that general direction until hopefully you come across it.
So they half fixed a problem of no maps by giving you a map but no directions.
Yeah.
Helpful.
Well, when you open the map, it points, the arrows point in the direction you're looking, so that's a bonus.
But if you're walking in a general direction of where you want to go, you're going to bump into about 4 or 5 crowds of enemies, and by then you've lost the direction you're traveling.
To be quite honest with you, these maps and lost sectors aren't going to change. So I think for the first instance of us getting those lost sectors, we're learning where they are, and then we'll all, after playing for a couple of weeks or so, we'll know where they are anyway without having to look at the map.
Well, there's a lost sector in the system which I will never ever lose because I took so long trying to find it that I can just find it now just by going into the area. I just go past it and like, there's that fucking lost sector that took me 20 minutes to locate.
Is that the one on top of a rock?
No, it's inside. It's next to that weird circle tower.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So how's the game, like, technically? Does it look nicer than the first one?
Yeah, it's prettier. The cutscenes are actually existent rather than before, where it didn't really seem like there was actually cutscenes. And they've put a lot of focus onto, in terms of the cutscenes anyway, for the way it looks, they've put a lot of effort into the Vanguard and the way they talk to each other. So that's Nathan Fillion, Gina Torres, and the other guy who
The dude from The Wire, Lance Reddick.
Yeah, that's the one. So Zavala, Cade, Six, and
Lance Reddick.
Yeah.
or what's his face? The new guy who sits on, is it Io, who calls him Vuvuzela?
Oh yeah, fucking Asher, prick.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I landed on that planet and investigated one of these investigation points, and it told me all about this Asher guy and how they hated him and blah blah blah. And I was like, who? Who? And then I started the story mission and I was introduced to him and I was like, oh, okay. So I kind of wish I'd done those two the other way around, but never mind.
It's got Frank Langella in it.
All right.
Neat.
I'm looking at the cast list for Destiny 2.
I'm not sure who he is. I'm not good with...
You don't know who Frank Langella is?
I'm afraid not, mate. No, I'm not good with middle of the run celebs.
Middle of the... Yeah, okay. You continue.
Shall I Google this? You're a movie guy, though, aren't you? I literally watch like one movie a month.
Fair enough.
Oh, okay. I know where he is. I know him by face. Yeah, okay. Yeah. He played Nixon, didn't he, in that?
Yeah. Frost Nixon.
It's good. Yeah.
Lenny James is back.
A
couple of people I know in this. Sorry, carry on.
So overall, the game does seem a lot prettier, but there's one of the locations, Titan. I was going to say planet, and then it's not one. It's an entire map that's basically on a sea made mostly of electrified currents, and it does not look very good, the waves, because
don't pay
just
attention to that too much.
It's generic video game water. It's there.
Just looks a bit wank.
Could have been better, basically.
They could have made it better, but it didn't. That doesn't really matter. You go near it, you die because it's outside of the map, basically. And there's no way back up, so it doesn't matter what it really looks like. You're not going to spend hours staring out into the distance, going, "Oh, that wave's a bit shit."
Yeah. However, everything else, looks-wise, is great. They've made a lot more effort to make everything more detailed. Everything looks more colourful. I mean, I've upgraded my TV since the last one, so I mean, I might be able to slightly in a better position to talk about colour, but
Okay, so
the detail that they've put into it, even in these lost sectors, the detail in it, just in as much as even in the corridors on your way around, aren't just plain boring corridors anymore. There's little computers sitting in the corner, and there's little things going on, and the walls look slightly different. Sometimes you'll come around and they're a bit corroded, and they've made the effort to not make everything look identical like it kind of did in the first.
Yeah. So what about the let's say, issues? Were there any issues with the online? Are there any issues with the online? Are you hanging around for 40 minutes waiting for people to connect to you? Or waiting for 40 minutes to connect to their servers?
I've yet to be booted out of a session. I've had one occasion of someone with me being booted out, but I think that's mostly his shit internet.
Fair enough.
I've got better internet now, thankfully. So I've not been booted yet, but on opening day last Wednesday, the 6th of September, I couldn't get a Crucible match. It just kept saying evaluating Guardians. However, since then I've managed to get a fair few. So, it seems to be getting better. It might have just been the sheer overload on the servers, I imagine.
Yeah, on
or that maybe no one was evaluated to be as good as me. You just don't know.
I don't think the Crucible was turned on day one either.
Or as bad as me.
Yeah. But I'm yet to find any proper game-breaking issues with it.
Cool.
I've walked into the public zones or the farm. I've walked into the farm and there's been upwards of 20 people there, and there's been no lag or anything. So there's not a lot going on there, but I think that's relatively impressive over the comparison from the first one, where it'd get jittery if there was 10 people on the map.
Okay.
There's still the occasional they load up a new social space for the farm, like the way they did for Destiny 1 back in the day of Season 1, would be that you would just load into the tower at the same time as about 15 other people.
I've not had that yet either, but
I've had that on the farm once, where I've loaded onto the farm, and then all of a sudden there was just like 20 other people loaded in all at once.
Fair enough.
It was It was quite entertaining to just stand there, and all of a sudden there's just like this constant noise of people teleporting in, because they've just basically switched on a social area and gone, oh, well, this one's empty, so let's just throw them all here. All these people trying to get to the social space at once.
There's no bounties now either, is there? So you don't have to go to those social spaces quite as often.
Yeah, they've removed
we would be constantly going to and fro them.
Yeah.
And obviously, back on Destiny 1, you had to load to orbit, and then you had to load to your new location, whereas you don't have to do that anymore either. You can go from Earth to Nessus, or from Nessus to the farm, in one go without having to go to orbit. So that's great. So the loading times have been cut.
Oh, and you can practically pick where you land as well with the new fast travel stuff.
Yeah, that's
so
good too.
if you're looking at the map for the EDZ, and I want to do a public event. Oh, there's one that's going to start in like 35 seconds over in, and then one of the areas. Just go, bam, I'll jump on that. Jump to this one instead of the generic starting point, because the generic starting point could be the other side of the fucking map.
And it always used to be on number 1.
Yeah, back in Destiny 1, you'd be like, oh shit, there's a public event on Earth over in like the Moth Yards or the Rocket Yards. And then you just load into onto Earth, you go to the starting point, and you'd be like, it's going to take me the best part of a minute and a half to get over there. That by then the public event's probably started, and you're not going to join one. Because they weren't guaranteed. Whereas now you see the public event loading in, you have a countdown timer, and then it's just a race to get yourself there in time to rally to the flag and get a free supercharge.
Oh, is that what that does?
Yeah, if you hit rally to the flag, it gives you fills up your supercharge meter.
Mental.
Yeah, and that's the new crowd control, Lee. That's your biggest issue of not being able to use a shotgun. That's what you're supposed to use your supercharge for, is crowd control.
Yeah, see, they spawn faster, but again, that's changing the way that I play. So that'll come with time.
Yeah.
It's going to take me a while to get used to how the character plays again, so that I can be as fucking pro as I was on the first one.
Saving all of our skin with your lack of self-revive.
Yeah.
Real Warlock pros won't need self-revive.
I think that for the most part, Bungie have done an excellent job. The only real thing that I think that let them down is they've gone to a mute guardian. They've obviously, because mostly they touted the fact that they'd made it more story driven. How can you have a story with somebody that doesn't talk unless it's intentionally around that person not talking?
Maybe we'll get the whole package in Destiny 3.
Maybe. I mean, there's a good chance that they'll patch in some voice later on, because it seems like there's space for them in the content for the person to actually do some talking. It's just like they just didn't bother in the end.
Okay. Do they talk at all in like the multiplayer stuff?
No. You make noises if you fall from a cliff or something.
Because there are still voice actors listed for each type of Guardian on IMDb.
Interesting. That's probably why the story falls a little bit flat when your Guardian feels like they're supposed to be talking to someone. Maybe they did the recording and then cut them out. They'll sell them back to you as DLC in a couple of months.
Yep. Part of the expanded season pass.
The only other thing I would say is that there's a distinct lack of closure from some of the story arcs and some of the characters and things from the first one.
On purpose or just shit writing?
Difficult to say. It's difficult to say that it won't be taken up in part of the expansions and things like that as well. So at the minute, it feels like they've written this story and didn't really want to stray too far from this particular story and not close anything from the first game. So there's quite a couple of, there's a few characters in the first, like the Exo Stranger, who theoretically was from the future, and a couple of other bits and bobs that I've not seen or heard anything from them yet on the second game. So but that's not a big deal, really.
Fair enough.
Not yet. I mean, if it comes down to the 5th Destiny game and I still ain't heard anything, then I'll be pissed off.
5th?
Well, you never know. I might still be alive then. Judging by the current release rate, that's only like 9 years away. So
you never know, I suppose.
If Destiny 2 has the same kind of upgrade pattern to what Destiny 1 is, it took 3 years for them to make an actual good game, then what Destiny 2 is currently, I'm quite looking forward to 3 years' time.
I will, as I did with Destiny 1, then buy it in 3 years.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they've taken people's, and not just people's, actually, probably means tested as well. They've taken it on board and they've put it in the game and they've made it a better game. It is a better game than the first one by a large margin.
They'd be pretty fucking stupid to not take all of that on board.
Yeah. Did you play The Force Unleashed too?
No.
Not everybody succeeds in sequels, as you probably well know with movies as well.
Well, yeah, but because Bungie, at least with Destiny 1, took a lot of the complaints that people had and fixed them in Destiny 1. So you kind of knew they were going to take people's criticisms on board. They might not fix it the way you like it, but they might fix it somehow.
Yeah, there was one major complaint that was doing the rounds, and it wasn't really an issue for me because it didn't really come a crop until I'd become level 20 and started getting them anyway. But shaders, which used to be used to colour your gear, is now you can only be used to colour your armour, and it would colour all of your armour at once, so all 5 of your pieces, I think, and you didn't have
apart from exotics.
Yeah, apart from exotics. Well, apart from most exotics, some still were affected.
And hunter cloaks.
Yeah, in this one, so shaders attached to each individual item, including your ship, including your Sparrow, including all your weapons, including all your gear. But now shaders are a consumable item instead of you keep it and use it whenever you want. So obviously people kicked off saying, it's just another thing for us to collect. We can't collect enough of them, blah, blah, blah. Why have you gone back to making them a consumable? But for me, initially I was kind of annoyed until I played it and got to level 20. And now I've got 1,000 shaders and I just don't know what to use them on. So
fair enough.
They're literally falling out of the woodwork. You get them for everything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, almost
now
every engram has a shader.
Item. Yeah, now it's just going to be another item. You can say, oh, I want to do this particular mission because it drops this particular shader, and I want my spaceship to be that particular color set.
Yeah.
So now it's just another thing you can go and collect, and that's, in a way, that's kind of good. In a way, that means I'm probably never going to get the ones I want, but
Well,
yeah, good.
My current armor set has a set of shaders, but I only had 4 shaders, which isn't enough for a full armor set, obviously. So it's almost entirely this one shade, but I can't remember where it is that I got that shader from. I think it was a bright engram.
Yeah,
which
you
means that I'm gonna have trouble
always
getting
get them at bright engrams. So when you get to level 20, you continue to level up your experience bar. When your experience bar reaches its zenith, you get a bright engram for free, and then it rolls round again and you start leveling up. So it's basically like you would know it as prestige, I guess.
Also, who would know it as prestige?
You would.
Call of Duty players.
Call of Duty players would know it as prestige. So you go over your
I'm
level.
not a fucking Call of Duty player.
Bollocks.
Titanfall players would know it as regeneration.
Most people would know it as... what do they call it in Gears? It's called something in Gears as well, isn't it?
I can tell you, I never got that far in Gears.
Me neither. But yeah, so you get this free engram which you can hand in for gear, like colours and shit. I forgot what they call it now. Cosmetic. It's cosmetic gear, and that's what you get. Cosmetic engram basically every time you level up after 20.
Fair enough. Cool.
I mean, the problem, the main problem is I'm sat there with X amount of consumable shaders to use, but I don't want to waste them, so I just don't use them and I walk around black and grey instead.
So I think we're all Destinied out.
Yeah.
Finally, after an hour and a half.
Yeah, Destinied out, mate.
Ready to play it again tomorrow.
Yeah, I managed to squeeze an hour today. I had to have the day off work because Arthur's got tonsillitis. So I managed to squeeze an hour while I had a nap on the couch. So that was nice.
So that just leaves us with recommendations.
I don't know if I have a recommendation.
Do we have any recommendations?
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay.
I guess. So, prior to the release of Destiny last Wednesday, the 6th of September, I was playing a game called Pyre, which is Supergiant's third game, I believe. Bastion and Transistor were their first two.
Cool.
And were both amazing games. So if you have not played them, play them. But Pyre is an interesting game. And I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a sort of odd sports game as such with a story. It's kind of hard to explain, to be honest.
Odd sports game with story.
Yeah, there you go. It's an odd sports game with a story. It's interesting and different. The premise is basically you have 3 characters on your team, and they're outside of this, and you've got this whole story mode interwoven between these characters. You collect further characters as you go along, and then at the end of each liberation, you have to say which character you want to send up, let's say to heaven, just for sake of argument. But you can only pick one character from your best 3, so you basically have to lose one of your best characters every time you go through the story, and I think you have to do it 6 or 7 times before you finish the game. So it's really interesting on how you actually have to play the game, because you can't keep a group of maximum level characters and just transfer the story. You have to get rid of one every time you do it. So it's really, I found it really interesting, and the story was quite good too to go with it, which is always helpful. But it is quite a lot of reading. If anyone's not handy at that,
Not
it's
handy at
PlayStation
reading.
only. Yeah, not everyone is handy at reading.
Well, they
But
are
it's
listening
PlayStation
to a
only, as far
podcast.
as I know.
See, this is why I didn't want to do written reviews, mate, because not everyone is handy at reading.
No,
Not everyone is handy at reading.
cool. Is that a new catchphrase? I like it.
I like it too. I tell you what, then my recommendation will be really quick. So this goes up Friday. So if I've got my dates right, Saturday, the next lot of Games for Gold games come out, and Xbox 360 backwards compat Battlefield 3 is going to be available for free, and I like Battlefield 3.
Battlefield 3 is pretty good.
Yeah, so worth a butcher's, especially if it's for free.
Didn't you send me that for free?
Yeah, I did, because I got I think I won a copy of it or something.
Yeah, you posted it to me, and I barely knew you. You had just posted me a copy of a game for free. I was like, oh, this guy's nice.
Yeah, and then you got to know me.
Yeah, he's desperate for friends.
Not anymore, he's not. He hooked you in.
Yeah,
That's it.
it worked.
I'm sold. Sign me up for the lifelong career.
Yeah. And I'm going to go with a recommendation, which is on Games with Gold again, same day, Saturday. So tomorrow, assuming Brooker decides to edit this and get it up on Friday and not, go out drinking or something.
I haven't got any plans. Well, the plan was to edit it tonight, but that probably won't happen now.
And my recommendation is for, on Xbox One, Oxenfree, which is a supernatural mystery sort of adventure game in like a 2.5D perspective.
Cool.
Yeah. It's actually pretty fun, and I'm actually quite glad it's free.
Yeah, worth picking up then, yeah?
Worth playing. Well, probably not for you, because it's, like a teen movie coming of age thing.
Sounds
Story
perfect
driven.
for him.
Yeah.
I do like teens.
Yeah.
Edit.
No, not a chance. I'm just going to leave it there to creep people out. Then next week, when you guys are recording EGX and I'm not there, it's because Operation Nutri turned up at my door.
So, that's us done,
Yeah.
I guess. So, Brooker, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter. I'm at Brooker411. And currently, that's about it.
And in prison from next week.
Yes. Well, next week, so we'll do another podcast because we're going to do like a live-ish podcast.
It'll be recorded while we're there talking.
Yeah, so we're going to record a podcast at EGX somehow. And I haven't quite decided yet whether I just release it and then we do another episode the week after, or if I save it till I get home to edit and use that as the next episode. Depends on how I feel and how long it takes me to edit.
Depends on Nerd Flu.
Yes. Well, I've got the Monday after EGX off, and I don't intend on wasting it all editing like I did the
Me
last
too.
time I took a day off.
We all thought ahead.
Yes.
And Lee, do you want to plug anything or yourself in any kind of way?
It's not really the place to talk about stuff like that, John.
But what you do in the comfort of your own home is everyone's business these days.
Okay, so Pyro Loveridge on both consoles. Or you can just Google it and find my Twitter, I guess, as well.
Or any other search engine that you may desire.
Yes, definitely
Yes.
use Lycos.
Yes, Alta Vista for the win.
Yep. Myself, I'm at the John_CU on Twitter, Xbox Live's Long Dong Silver. As a team, we are Character Unlock on Twitter. That's at Character Unlock. Facebook, Character Unlock. Instagram of Character Unlock, and CharacterUnlock.com for the podcast itself, where you're probably listening to it off of via Podbean in some way.
And mail@characterunlock.com if you want to send us abuse in more than 140 characters.
Or
please
Twitter
don't send
if you
us
want
abuse.
to abuse us in 140 characters, but multiple times.
Yes, that works too.
What about Destiny Clan now? Are you going to plug that as well?
No, because the Destiny Clans is like not character unlock based, but I may change it if I'm allowed to. I think we should. I think a character
Maybe.
unlock
If
clan.
you come up with a witty strapline.
Join my
No.
clan.
Join my clan.
That's it. It's perfect. We've got a winner.
I need friends.
But Scrambled Legs is a thing, but may become character unlock later. I think it should.
That's up to you guys because I don't play
That's
Destiny.
a clan decision.
I'm thinking of a character unlock Xbox clan. There's an IGN one, so why not?
Because we're not
Yeah, do it.
IGN.
We're better. So we should have twice as many people on it.
We need a big bearded Welshman like IGN
No.
have.
We know a Scottish guy.
Do we?
He's been on the podcast twice.
Is he big and bearded?
He's Scottish, it's by definition.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
All the women are big and bearded.
Makes Tinder a whole lot of fun.
What, trying to decide which one's the male and which one's
Yeah.
the female?
Everyone loves a beard.
Right, have you ever heard that song?
No.
There are many beard
There's
songs.
a song. Is it Praise the Beard?
Obey
There's
the beard.
Obey the beard.
Obey the Beard, that's it.
That's going to be my entrance music if I ever become a wrestler.
That song tickles me.
And with that,
We,
that's the end of the show.
Come punch people. Come punch us if you find us at EGX.
Yeah.
Or
Punch
punch
Bucket
John.
in the beard.
John is dressing as that cat from Darkstalkers.
I hope
So,
not.
Yeah, if you see a fat, reasonably young, balding guy with long hair and fake tits, that's John.
I'm basically the guy who's going to be walking around crying because I ordered a load of stuff from Insert Coin because they said we'll be available for EGX, and they messaged me today and said we'll be sending out early next week. May not be with you in time for EGX.
Nice.
I've got a T-shirt that says "I'm cosplaying as myself," and that's it. And
I'm
that's
just
what I'm
gonna
going to wear.
I'm going to wear stuff that was given to me free from EGX last year.
Is it going to be a white T-shirt that says EGX on it?
Not just a lanyard, then.
It's a strategic.
That's all he's going to wear. He's going to wear nothing else but a lanyard.
Just a lanyard.
Yep.
Gross.
I'll have you know, they were wristbands last year, not lanyards.
All right.
But it won't be on my wrist.
EGX cock rings. Yeah. Scan this on day 2.
Anyway, good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Mustache? No. Sideburns? No. Goatee? Maybe. Beard? Beard! Do you feel alone? Do you feel neglected? Not doing too well with the ladies? Well, I've got the solution for you! Low self-esteem? Grow a beard! Afraid to follow your dreams? Grow a beard! Are you lonely and sad? Grow a beard! You wanna look good and plaid? Grow a beard! Are you working out? Grow a beard! Did your car break down? Grow a beard! Ice caps melting? Grow a beard! Are you stuck in the middle of nowhere and you need to make an important phone call but the battery's dead and you can't find an outlet to plug in your charger? Grow a beard! Wash the beard, manscape the beard, stroke the beard, love the beard, fear the beard, obey the beard, obey the beard, obey the beard, behold the beard, obey the beard, accept the beard, obey the beard, respect the beard, obey the beard.
Oh my God. Becky, look at his beard. It's just so beard.
Impress your dates with your beard. Eat a steak with the beard. Chop down trees with the beard. Crush your enemies with the beard. Catch a fish with the beard. Roundhouse kick with the beard. Control the nets with the beard. Chia pets? Beard. Drive a truck with the beard. Try your luck with the beard. Arm wrestle with the beard. Teenage Mutant Ninja Beard. Pet the doggy with the beard. I pledge allegiance to the beard. Can't grow a beard, then buy a beard. Do you have a beard? Then grow more beard.
You need to shave this thing.
Shut up, Grandma. Grow a beard. Dump in the beard. Drink to the beard. Cause beards are good and scruff. Obey the beard. Behold the beard. Obey the beard. Accept the beard. Obey the beard. Respect the beard. Obey the beard. I was so empty and lost inside till I grew you. I put my faith in my facial hair to get me through. Well, I can defy the odds again and again with you on my chin. With every moment you grow closer and closer to my heart. I love you, Beard.
If you love it so much, why don't you just marry it?
Do you take this beard to be your lawfully wedded beard? For bearder or for worse, in scruffiness and in beard, till shave do you part?
I Beard. Abe Lincoln had a beard. ZZ Top, epic beard. Dimebag Darrell, Nettle beard. Chuck Norris, kick-ass beard. #1 biggest beard. Chewbacca is a beard. Santa Claus, Jesus Christ,